Muy buenas tardes nuevamente. Aquí estamos en nuestro segundo webinar del día de hoy. Muchísimas gracias a todos los profesores y profesoras que nos están acompañando. Puedo ver personas aquí de todos lados, desde Acapulco, desde Durango, de diferentes partes de la República, muy contentos, muy comprometidos. Muchísimas gracias. Ahora vamos a pasar con nuestra segunda ponente. Ella es Mariana Barradas. Ella es de Jalapa, Veracruz. Muchísimas gracias, Mariana. Ella es arquitecta egresada de la Universidad Veracruzana y candidata maestra en didáctica y nuevos ambientes de aprendizaje por la Universidad de Anáhuac Sur. Maestra de inglés desde 2010 en el Colegio Las Hayas, certificada por el Anglo-Mexican Foundation. Actualmente es la coordinadora general de los espacios de tecnología creativa del Colegio Las Hayas, los cuales promueven proyectos transversales y multidisciplinarios STEAM, Maker y basados en metodologías de Design Thinking, con alumnos desde preescolar hasta media superior, a fin de promover progresivamente el desarrollo de las habilidades del siglo XXI. Maestra registrada por la Royal Academy of Dance desde hace 17 años, bailarina ARAD y creadora, productora y coreógrafa de diferentes proyectos independientes multidisciplinarios que incentivan el fomento de la danza, música y artes circenses en la ciudad de Jalapa. Muchísimas gracias, Mariana, por estar con nosotros. Ya te habíamos visto hace ratito con Lula.
Así es.
Es tu turno de participar.
Me da mucho gusto, ahora sí, tomar la palabra después de Miss Lula. Es un honor, ella como mentora mía. Bueno, ahora me toca a mí presentar la segunda parte de esa filosofía tan importante que ella comparte con nosotros. Entonces, bueno, voy a ir a la presentación. Vamos a ver. Ok. Y pues bueno, sé que en la plática les puse el título. I'm sorry, I'm going to switch to English. I'm sorry, I suddenly forgot. But I knew that the title of this was the Transversal. I was thinking in Spanish, basically. And let me correct that word, because in English it has another term, that is the multidisciplinary English classrooms. Okay? So today what I'm going to try for you to take, and I hope you can take something from what you see today, that is the practical part of what Lula was mentioning, that I have been developing with her for so many years, and now it's my turn to continue this project according to the philosophy that she left and she has shared with you. It's exactly this. So what I am going to do is take you through a journey. Think of it as a journey. And I think that if we're talking about life as a teacher, we cannot think about straight lines. Do you agree with me, Miss Lula?
Totally. I agree with you. Totally. We don't have straight lines.
There are no straight lines. Actually, when I was doing this presentation, I started drawing straight lines, but then I had problems because I said, wait, teachers, we are not straight lines, and we have to be organic. That's the word, right? And we have to be adaptable, like Miss Lula was saying. So this is kind of the journey I will be talking about in this hour that we have. And Miss Lula has already given us a very close approach to what the 21st century English classroom will look like. She talked about the World Economic Forum, okay? And she was talking about the skills and everything that we should encourage our students and promote in our English classrooms. Because as English teachers, we mean that we're also global, that language has to break the barriers of the walls, and we have to go beyond and provide that vision to our students. So to make it clearer, I've concentrated, Ms. Lula was talking about the emotional part that is also super important, and we'll see it in the practical examples that I'll show you. But I'm going to concentrate more in a concrete way towards the Education 4.0 framework. This type of framework, It's a challenge, to be honest. It's when you read these words, and this is what I will try to deliver today from the teacher's point of view. This framework, these global citizenship skills, and this innovation and technology, and but in the classroom, to be honest, it's a challenge. I understand totally to really, how do I do this? Where do I start? Because I was once there 10 years ago. I was with Miss Lula. I was very lucky to be with her, right, Miss Lula? But I was just there. And when I started reflecting about my teaching practice, I started like checking, what am I doing? If this was a rubric and me as an English teacher, what am I doing with what I'm teaching? And right now, teaching remotely is a challenge. What do you think, teachers? Ms. Lula, the question would be for the teachers, how do you feel about teaching skills in this remote environment?
Okay, I will start reading when they tell us. Can you repeat the question?
How do you feel teaching skills in this remote learning environment, this online way of working? For those
they say scare.
Yes.
Challenging.
Yes.
Tough. It's not easy at all.
No, it's not. I am the first one that says that.
Overwhelmed.
Yes.
Stressed.
Yes.
Insecure.
Yes.
Worried.
Okay. Yes, I really get all those feelings. I've lived them as well. And we have changed what was supposed to be changed in 3 years, suddenly changed in 3 months. So the World Economic Forum is telling us that the innovative way to do this is through a playful, experiential, computational, embodied, and multiliteracies approaches. If we analyze what do they mean, because they are very hard words, I try to put in very simple words what the World Economic Forum says that we as teachers should do in order to develop the skills in a STEAM environment. Where, remember, we're inside a STEAM environment. And how many of do you do the playful one, all of them, the experiential, the computational? Which one have you tried before? Ms. Lula, can you check? And teachers, can you answer? Which one have you tried before? Or maybe none.
From the comment before, I just want to rescue one last thing, that it says it's challenging, but we have to take the challenge. And now this is
yes.
Playful, experimental, or experiential, I think.
Experiential.
Playful.
Playful.
Almost everybody's saying playful.
Okay, yes, especially as English teachers, come on, we have to play games, songs. That's our day-to-day way of teaching. I mean, and children and teenagers kind of love that from us. I know that English teachers, we have that approach of playing. We love playing because as it is a second language, the aspect of the emotional learning is also very important. Remember that. So I'm glad that you say that you have used most of them. You're on the right track. But when I started in this STEAM approach, this was the first question that I got. I am an English teacher. How do I do that? It's because remember, I'm talking about the teacher side, okay? Suddenly lots of words that mean problems. You start like, oh, but I only have 2 hours a week. I only have 1 hour a week. What about time? What about the internet and resources and planning? Can you think of any other problem? Is there any other problem that I forgot to write? Can you write in the chat? Am I missing something else?
They say that with passion, it will be easy.
Okay, so I'm very happy that you're saying that, because yes, this is usually what we start thinking, like, oh, my planning, my curriculum. And I heard at the beginning of the talk that you were talking about planning and how the resources and what apps can we use. Okay.
And they were saying the absences, the economy, field papers,
Okay.
family, student, parents.
Yes,
Context.
yes, I forgot about that part, but we can talk about that in another day, because that can be a totally different tower. But
There could be another one.
yeah, that can be another webinar we can have, and yeah, no, we would take ages and we wouldn't finish. What I'm interested for you to understand is that even though we have problems, or we see like blocks in our way, and we heard about this wonderful, and tomorrow you will hear about a little bit of the philosophy behind this learning spiral, suddenly things seem like this, like complicated, and it doesn't turn out the way you expect it to be. At the beginning, especially STEAM approach, I remember Calderon saying this, it won't work. Or if it works, how lucky you are. But the second time you try it, I'm sure you will be on this side. Not here, you will be here. Because I've been there. You'll start noticing that there are lots of things that you have to manage, like apps, technology, names, new theories, new approaches for teaching. And it's a lot. It's a lot of words to keep in mind. So I am an English teacher. How do I do that? The how to, give me the practical way. The first thing we need to do as English teachers, in my perspective, and you tell me if you agree or disagree, is to change the way of asking. I am a super English teacher. Why not doing that? And like you said, if there's passion, everything is possible. And if you imagine it, you can create it. So, with having that in mind, let's go to the multidisciplinary English class. According to Ken Robinson in 2015, he said that teachers must create the circumstances for seeds to grow. We have some seeds that turn into a beautiful fruit, a delicious fruit. Some seeds that will be very good for providing shade and helping others. And there are some others that have these superpowers to heal other people. We're talking about emotional intelligence somehow here, but Ken Robinson is talking about natural talents. And I'm talking about natural talents since a student's point of view and teacher's point of view. And that is why multidisciplinarity is the word for what you can be working with STEAM. In my own experience, this is the multidisciplinarity that I usually have in my everyday. And that doesn't mean that you have to do all these or you have to be super powerful. No. What type of talents and abilities do you have that you can provide to your students? Let's start by that. As a teaching point of view, you have to understand who you are, what are your talents, and then inspire your kids to find theirs. Okay? So this is a very long definition if you want to read it. Do you see any important words in this definition? Because it's a long one about multidisciplinarity. What is that? So
they say it's a great example.
A great example. Okay. Yes, it's crossing barriers. I did the black. I am a fan of Austin Kleon, thanks to Ms. Lula. And I did one of his exercises for this definition. And I found these important words: curriculum integration, disciplines, diverse perspectives, illustrate, same topic, more than one, that means more than one topics, cross-disciplinary. In Spanish, this would be transversal, to cross boundaries.
Miss,
So,
Miss Mariana, can you tell them how you started from the other one to this one?
I can.
You had this text.
And then I started putting black squares on top of the rubbish. Only the words that mean important ideas. That's an exercise you can do with your students. And this is Google Slides. You can do it in Google Slides by drawing a black square on top of words you might not need, and only obtain the most important ideas. So this is what the International Bureau of Education in the UNESCO says. That we as teachers, and as you can see here, you need to prepare the land, okay, where the seed will grow. This is an analogy, and I want you to think of teaching practice like this. As English teachers, we must make sure that the conditions are okay for the seed to grow. And there are many conditions. I only posted a few. There is a starting point. How do I do that? Remember this question? I am a super powerful English teacher. Why not doing that? Change the question. So according to that, how do I start? And this is, I'm going to share my experience, and I hope it is useful. There are many ways to do that. Yesterday, when Gus was saying about the ways of doing design thinking, I was like, yes, if we humans, if we teachers are different and we are diverse, of course, our teaching styles will be diverse. And that is something that we should also promote in our classrooms. There is something that is called the 5 E's instructional model. That is a model that was created, if I'm not mistaken, 2015. That is a linear model. You engage, you explore, you explain, you elaborate, and you evaluate. Easy words to follow as a teacher. Think of a lesson plan. What is the first thing I will do to engage? What is the second thing I will do to explore? What is the third thing to explain, elaborate, and evaluate? But there was a problem with this model. Ms. Lula, can you read the answers? And the question, teachers, is, what is the problem with this model? What would you say? I kind of said it at the beginning of the talk.
I'm going to read.
Any ideas? What's the problem?
They say it's a good question.
Yes, analyze it as a teacher. What's the problem with this?
They say you do all. They say teachers need a super motivated student.
I love that one, that you do all. Exactly. That was a problem in this model.
The process must not be linear.
That, ning, 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 ning. Correct answer. Bravo.
It is straight, they say.
Yes, it shouldn't be straight. Like design thinking, if you remember what they say about design thinking, it is somehow the same structure. But now they have taken this model for blended learning as such, a type of way. It's like, I'll explain it in a minute. And they found out that in this type of model, exactly the teacher was doing everything, especially in this part. So we're talking about traditional ways of teaching again. Let's do it like this. And if we analyze it with everything that we have been hearing the past few days, that is constructivism evolving towards constructionism. Gus was talking about this yesterday. And a student-centered environment. Why is STEAM a student-centered environment? Okay. That gives you a choice menu as teachers. So far, I've heard 3 ways of working in everything you have heard. That is the learning creative spiral that tomorrow, I'm sure that you will talk about a little bit more. A blended learning approach that I will explain today, just a little, what is useful, because we can continue talking about it for many days. And design thinking. If you analyze the 3 of them, I'm an architect, so I like to find the connect points. These are the steps for each way of working or each methodology, if you want to see it like that. If you start analyzing, you will see that most of the methodologies are having the same starting point: imagine, engaging, empathizing, defining. And then you have something that is creating, playing, exploring, elaborating, ideating, prototyping, like Gus was explaining us yesterday. He was explaining this one, the one that is down here. And tomorrow you might be talking about this one. Today we're talking about this one. If you see the steps, they have a very important part that is communicating, reflecting what you're doing, evaluating. How do you do that with students? This part, it's very complicated because we're talking about assessment. I saw a question earlier that was about assessment. But remember, we're not talking about linear lines. We're talking about mixing and blending and using what is useful and adaptable for your classroom. If I truly believe something is that you can be like a purist with the theory, or you can explore and create your own mixture and remix the concept. That's much more fun as a teacher than just sticking with the rules and buy the book, in my opinion. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you like?
They're saying, oh, well, I super agree because my personality is like your drawing.
Yeah.
I'm always like this, but in our chat, they're telling us be flexible.
Exactly.
We need more creative students, but I think we need more creative teachers.
Yes, we do.
Flexibility is the key for success.
Exactly. Yes, flexibility.
And they were mentioning your blender. Nice idea of blending.
Oh, sorry?
Your blender. Nice idea of blending.
Well, that's Kathleen Tucker was the one that invented that concept. It wasn't me. Don't worry. I'll show you what I usually do. I'll give you my strategy. That is exactly this. That is mix and match. This is an idea that comes from Austin Kleon that as teachers is very useful. I usually apply it many times, and I'm sharing it with you because I think it's a very concrete way of getting into a result. Like gather the branches on your tree and make what they would make. If we were talking about an example, this would be my example. We can see Ken Robinson and Freire and John Spencer and Acaso and Resnick, and we see Marianella and we see Mavridi. What would they do if I started mixing their ideas? That's the interesting part. And education needs to be like that. Maybe we don't need to continue following the book. Maybe we need to invent our own ideas. And STEAM environments exactly trains that. So let's go back to the problems. And I'm going to concentrate in these two, time and curriculum, because let's be honest, we are still in a curriculum that time will affect planning, time will affect evaluation, will affect planning, and at the end of the day, they will ask us for a number. We're still like that. In Mexico, sorry to tell you, but we're still like that. I hope, and I really, really believe that this will change one day. And from this chair, I'm working on it so it changes. And you should do it as well from your own places. But let's be honest, as a teachers, we have to go one step at a time. And that is something I have learned several years ago. We have what is called online resources. In this blended environment, nowadays, we have something that is called online resources and in-person instruction, that we will create the personalized learning environment. Today, we are living these two realities. Which one are you living the most, the online or the in-person instruction?
Okay, let's see what they tell us. She says, thanks. Some of them say, thanks for your wishes. God bless you.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to be positive in this negative world sometimes. But
so they're starting to answer. They say in person, online.
Okay. It's interesting because blended learning.
Online.
Okay. Oh. So let's think about these two. If we think about blended learning today, I think in-person instruction is happening like this, right? We are using these tools, Zoom, Google Meet, WhatsApp, video calls, whatever tool we have to satisfy the needs of in-person instruction that is super important with students. It's something vital. Students need to feel you. So that's why I chose the blended learning approach to give you like an idea, because there are many ideas, but today I'm giving you one idea that maybe can work, how to do STEAM in both environments. So let's continue. We have one big problem here. And I'm giving this point of view because there are some theories in education that say that curriculums must disappear. We will get to that point. Yes, we will. And I hope it's soon. But let's face it. Let's face our reality. Today, there's a curriculum, there's a model, an educational model we must follow. And this educational model is the humanist, social, constructivist curriculum. It's not so bad. If you really analyze it, not so bad. That can be a totally different webinar we can talk about. But what we're concentrating is that we have personalized, flexible curriculums. Imagine that you could design a specific curriculum for each student. That would be amazing. And I think that's where we are right now. With this situation, with the pandemic, we're kind of moving towards that. So what you're doing today, listening to these ideas, you're on the right track. And blended learning, when I read this in the book, I was like, oh, okay, thank you. Because it's too much suddenly. I've personally, I have felt overwhelmed with so much information. And blended learning says that it's Kathleen Tucker. It's okay to start from integrating curriculum. And I use this image because it's like a trampoline. You're going to jump. You have to dive into the STEAM environments. There's no other option. Take the jump, be brave, and start swimming through the process. And start including the skills in your process. How will you foster these? How will you foster these? Will you foster these? Because you also have to teach reading, writing, and as English teachers. But how useful will that reading and writing be? Will it be meaningful for students? How will you share it? What tools will you use? And at the end, you will have this amazing project. And will students feel like that? Maybe yes, maybe not. What do you say? Do you agree with this analogy?
Could you place the question again?
Do you agree with the analogy of diving in and experimenting?
We have students also need to become self-learners and learn how to use the 21st century tools in order to help them to become successful citizens. And this approach is a good opportunity to do so.
Oh, you said it better than me. Congratulations.
Well, no, yeah. Curriculum should not disappear. They just have to keep evolving, being flexible.
Exactly. There are many points of view. And in my point of view, curriculum and everything, if you dive in, there will come a time when you will start flying. And those paths will be very different from the type of models you choose to use. But that's the richness of being an English teacher, that you can think about a context, learning the language by using it. And it would be great if we could use these curriculums with our students according to their interests and follow their national passions. That is the ideal. And that's what we should be fostering. But we have a very big curriculum behind that window. That is the elephant. And in this image, you can see that context and points of view and perspectives are very important. And yes, I kind of agree, I'm half and half, if curriculums should disappear or not. It just depends that how you as a teacher envision that curriculum. So context really matters. What's the context? Okay, yes, you're telling me all this theory, but give me the practical. So this was my reality in 4th grade. As an English teacher, this is what I have to teach. And I also had the challenge to teach geography in English. So either both ways that you see it. And because of my profile, I have towards an interest and I'm guided towards like a path. Right, Ms. Lula? So
totally.
Yes, a multidisciplinary approach. Maybe I am a musician And then I can turn this into a music opportunity. What is your talent? Remember that you have a talent that can make your students learn. So can you guess what are my connecting points here? Let's connect information. What would be a point of coincidence in these three types of information? Think of a global topic. Any ideas? I'm talking about economical activities, I'm talking about gastronomy, and I'm an architect. What is the connecting point between those three? Can you think of any ideas?
And remember, she's teaching geography as a curriculum.
Yes.
Jobs.
Jobs, okay.
Movement.
Movement, yes.
Tourism, climate.
Oh, I like that one. Tourism, climate. Okay. So yeah, you're getting my point of view. That's super cool.
My travel to New York.
Oh, that would be super cool. My travel to New York. But what happens?
Design a restaurant.
What happens when not even the teacher can travel to New York? It has happened to me, to be honest. So let me show you.
Yes, places, lifestyle.
Yes. We're on the right track. So I found the connecting points: gastronomy and economical activities, and it has to do with everything you're mentioning. And I want you to keep the global goals in your mind. So as a teacher, my mind is like this right now. I have the soil, I have the connecting points, but how will I do it now? I need to find something that it's a little bit more structured to make the seed grow, to make my student learn. But I have to find a context, that means the soil, that will make him or her learn. So for this purpose, I chose a sustainable restaurant. What do you think about this topic? According to what Ms. Lula has said, what can you think about this?
Do you like the topic sustainable restaurant?
Do you like it? I should have done the trip to New York. That would kind of been interesting.
But you also like food, I know.
Yes, and I have to teach vocabulary that is about food. That's my reality. Students must learn vocabulary about food. Remember that.
They say they like it.
Okay, they like it. Okay, so yes, there's a topic here, Mexican gastronomy. And remember that geography in 4th grade is about Mexico. So somehow the programs are related. So that's my connecting point. Yes? That's my context. A sustainable restaurant in Mexico. Small project. What can make a restaurant sustainable? As a teacher, this is my global program, and this is how I usually do it. I am thinking of a scaffolding way of thinking here. What activities will help me get to the goal at the end of because this project is actually planned at the end of the school year. So what activities will help me build knowledge in a constructivist or constructionist way? And how will STEAM help me with that? Okay, let's see. So I start exploring and connecting points again. And I'll start with the first stage, that is engaging. Let's engage our students. Even you're in an online, engage. Step number 1, that blended learning is right now, because of the pandemic, Kathleen Tucker is using again. They left that model behind, but now they have returned it because now everything is done by the student. So I am putting 3 types of approaching this topic, that is the sustainable restaurant here. If I am working in an online environment, I can use a Google Classroom question, or I could use a Padlet wall. I know you have had some talks about these tools. And I'm not going to concentrate in how to use the tools, but I'm leaving you 2 easy tools that, in my opinion and in my experience in the past 3 months, I've seen they work pretty well. We're talking about 4th grader students, and I chose this grade because it's like a middle between junior high and kindergarten. If you are having video sessions at a specific time and a specific day, well, you need to do cooperative routines. Have you tried the tool Zoom groups? When I'm talking about cooperative routines, means that I number the students. I make teams of 4. You number them, 1, 2, 3, 4. And number 1 starts writing and debating. What is the best restaurant you have ever been to? That would be a question that would engage my students in this debate. Or what is the best restaurant for you? And then I would have Zoom groups divided and talking to each other. Because remember that collaboration, especially in blended learning environments, that is online and this way, it's one of the most important things to consider. If I can have both, because I have them there and then they can go, other models in schools, some schools are working like this, some schools are working like this. Some schools don't even have technology and you have to take papers. So think about how could you do this on a paper, white sheet of paper. But if you have this wonderful blended learning way, I would make a Google Slides party with Google Slides. Have time, prepare the slide. You only have to make one. And Nefta, thank you for that idea. But have time, show and tell. And let the debate start. And let's see what restaurant wins. And there you're making a diagnostic information. You are encouraging them to use vocabulary words. They will have to look for words to describe. That was also a part of the curriculum. So I'm using the restaurant to describe. Step number 2.
Mariana,
yes.
I have a challenge for
What
you.
What is the challenge?
The challenge is in the commentaries. They're saying, what if the students have never been into a restaurant because of their social environment?
That's a good question. Okay, if they have never been, what about I would think about their kitchen maybe, or if they haven't been in a restaurant, maybe you can talk about a family meal. Think about a family meal, the experience of that, and take them back to their emotions. And maybe it's a hard point to work, and maybe you get sad emotions from that, but it gives you as a feedback as a teacher of maybe what you can start working. Maybe, or do you have any other ideas? That would be my idea. Maybe a meal, a moment that they enjoyed once in their life. Because remember, a restaurant is an experience, and they sell experiences besides food. So you can guide students towards an experience, and you would guide it to the social emotion part. Remember the STEAM approach. Question answered, maybe? I don't know if, well, there's not a right and wrong answer, so. Okay, so step number 2 would be explore. I'm in this one. And if you explore, you have to imagine, you have to create, you have to empathize. We are empathizing with the case of this student you are mentioning. He has never been to a restaurant. What am I going to do as a teacher? I am defining then what are we going to do. So how do you do it? It doesn't matter the way you are teaching. You have to do it collaboratively. You are not going to provide traditionally the information and speak inside and on top of the camera like I am doing right now, more than 40 minutes. I would love to have these collaborative structures with you right now and sending you into groups and talking and researching. But in this part, the discussion crowdsource, that means building the knowledge together. What does a sustainable restaurant mean? What does a restaurant include? Is there a way of making restaurants in different parts of the world? Have you ever been to a super restaurant that has amazed you? Or have you never been to one? What happens with that? In these collaborative structures, it doesn't matter how. Research can be made with these devices. And I think, okay, you need money for that. But if you can't, you can print the information or the articles and send it to the students. They can watch videos that if they are 4th graders, I might select 1 or 2 because they are starting their training towards how to find accurate information. Maybe if you start a little bit earlier, they will be able to do it in 4th grade. So step number 3 would be, after they build their knowledge, think about constructivism here, they have to explain it. But when I say explain, I don't say the teacher explains. Blended learning says. What do you think is the answer? Can you answer, Ms. Lula?
Little teachers.
Little teachers, exactly. That's a wonderful concept. Little teachers. That means students become proud of their learning. So, one more time, you see the connecting points. How can you do it? There's an amazing tool that if you don't have a video session, it's called Flipgrid, where students can upload their videos and put their opinions about what they think. I really recommend you to look at that app. It's a very interesting, social, interactive, collaborative, social application to use. If you're having live synchronous sessions, okay, you have a date and time, and then students would present like you would normally do in a classroom. Or you would have them simultaneously sharing the information. And if you had this blended mode that one part of the class is going to be online and the next part of the class is going to be in-person teaching, I would do Zoom groups. One more time, number heads, and number ones go with number ones to share it. Number twos share. Number threes go together, and number four. You can do those things with Zoom groups, with using Zoom. That's the only thing you need, okay? And it's very simple. It's super easy.
Miss Mariana. Miss
Tell
Mariana.
Yes.
Somebody wrote Suggestopedia.
Oh.
Suggestopedia, like Edutopia, Suggestopedia.
Oh,
I'm going to steal that idea.
Yes, that's super important. Yep. An idea to steal. Like Dr. Cleon says, Miss Lula. Okay. Elaborate. That's the next step. Now here comes the fun part. This is my favorite part. This is my favorite of all times because now STEAM is hands-on experience. What Gus was saying yesterday, before going to the computer, every single time, there has to be at least a paper and a pencil before going to the machine. Because what you do on paper and with pencil, the computer cannot do it. Collaborate. And we heard it yesterday with Gus. I'm not going to stop that much there, but remember what he said. Yes, a computer cannot do that. But you with a paper and a pencil can discuss, can collaborate. And that's the most important thing. You can use multidisciplinary approaches, multidisciplinary ways of learning. Of course, you can see my finger here. Of course, this is my finger. This is my teaching style. But I have technology here. That is the art part. I have the language part that I have reading, speaking, listening, writing, and I'll show you some examples right now. I have history and architecture, and I have sustainable. Before going to a computer, like I told you, they have to be on paper. So blended learning doesn't necessarily, like Ms. Lula said earlier, have to be on the computer. As you can see, they were going to design in Minecraft. So they had to do a Minecraft color code. Remember, they are talking about gastronomy. So they had to go to their atlas, geography atlas, look for, let's say, Veracruz, where I live. What does Veracruz produce? Okay. In this example, you can see it's Yucatan. Yucatan, according to the atlas, produces mamey, octopus, blonde, locust, and honey. They are producers, honey producers. I'm talking about also economical activities, remember. So I am using vocabulary here, economical activities in my state. I'm having a design part that students will use their imagining part here, creating. This part is always super fun and they take longer. They have to write. This is my writing, a small paragraph. This is my writing, what I can grade as a writing. The same here. This is a writing. And it doesn't mean that he or she got a 3 or a 4. I'm using a rubric to evaluate this, where 4 is the highest number. And as you can see, well, he was missing some information here because I was also talking about geography. So I'm talking about the cloud forest. Yucatan has dry forest, grasslands, temperate forests, and cloud forests. So I am talking about the context. Where will my restaurant be? What will my restaurant prepare? So here they have to research. It's an inquiry-based approach. And what about the ambience? What will people see inside your restaurant? Oh, this is super interesting because kids have the craziest ideas ever. Teenagers also have very good ideas. You just have to listen to what they say and be patient, in my opinion. So this is another part of how you can approach. This is a project me and Ms. Lula made, where we are talking about traditions. Maybe that those traditions can help the students. And as you can see here, well, this part of the project was made with Build It Yourself, a company from Boston that we work collaboratively with them. But I love this picture because we didn't use technology to make STEAM learning. Yes, we did in Minecraft, as you can see back here, lots of the day, and we were using Minecraft, we were using technology skills, and they were growing up like little architects. I was the happiest ever. But by only using a white piece of paper, we had an architect and we had a biologist analyzing with the global goals that you can see here. The proposal, in this case, was a city. It wasn't a restaurant, but think that the restaurant is here. How sustainable will your restaurant be? And invite people to come and see your projects. Invite students to defend their ideas. Let them have their own voice. STEAM lets you do that. To design your restaurant, to design your city, I'm switching now because this was the project we did. It wasn't a restaurant, but it was a city. Here you have a writing based on research. Here you have metacognition or metacognitive approaches, that is planning. What are we going to do? What are we going to build? So as you can see, I am using the language to create something. And how am I going to make them right? Justify your ideas. Research and tell me, why are your ideas so good? So far, so good, Ms. Lula? Any comments? I've been talking for a while now.
Excellent comments, and well, as always, they're excellent ideas. They're commenting, but sometimes some teachers feel not so encouraged because maybe the parents or maybe the conditions that the students don't have the materials. But as always, as you say and just mentioned, you can always do it in paper, colors, stickers, or drawings.
That's why I use this example, because I would have told you, okay, you use Minecraft and an iPad and a computer, and let's face it, not everybody has that option. But a piece of paper, you can even draw on the earth. Maybe. I don't know. I'm thinking of other ways of ideas. Maybe drawing with milk. I don't know. I'm thinking of crazy ideas, but as you can see, chalks. Fine. There can be a way. But as you can see, the problem was the same for everybody. This was a problem because it was a fictional. It was a fiction. Sorry, I forgot the word. A fictional environment. It's not a real one. It's actually, they were very crazy and they started doing this type of designs. But the valuable thing here is the solutions they are giving. All of them are different. All of them have different ways of approaching sustainability. And all of those answers are correct somehow. Because when you're here speaking those students, you say, okay, you're totally right. I wouldn't say anything to you. So that's one way of approaching STEAM. I used Minecraft. I used cardboard, paper, pencil.
2 minutes, Mariana.
Yes.
2 minutes.
Okay. So here comes the challenge. Take the next step. I'm almost finishing. This is the journey we have been taking, but now we're here in blending and remixing. Like I told you, I'm going to show you other examples of what we have done towards STEAM education. Me as an English teacher, because I'm sharing these ideas with you, so if you want to do them, please let me know and evaluate these ideas in your context. Let's see what happens, and let's talk about it and discuss and let's share. That's the point of this, that we make a learning community and that we give ideas and we say, you know what, I couldn't use a restaurant because I have this student that has never been in a restaurant. I had to use another thing. What did you do? That's the interesting dialogue. This was another activity I had to do, population density. It's in 4th grade geography, and English. It was connected with my English program, that the English book I have to follow. Somehow they were connected. I had vocabulary down here, as you can see, the parts of a city, and I don't quite remember, but this was the activity, and I was studying. And because of that, we decided to create with trash, premium quality junk. I love that term. To design the Mexican cities of the future. This has been the craziest project I've dared to do, but it has been the most interesting one and the most enjoyable one, because I left curriculum aside. I only used the main points that was economical activities. And if you see this picture on the left, each color represents an economical activity. So students started creating. Of course, we were using the technological part that they designed in Scratch. And we had teachers that are experts evaluating their project. They were like, it was their exam day. Parents were there, so they were listening to exactly what they were asking, because somehow each city that you see here belonged to the specific information of a state. Earlier, I saw a question that said, how did you mix it, or how can you make it multidisciplinary by including the arts? Of course, I love the arts. They are part of me. This is painting class, and they studied murals. And as you can see, this is Teatro Juárez. And you can see the economical activities. You can see an important monument in Mexico. Okay. And besides designing the cities of the future, we have in Scratch, you can visit Mabaluca. This is the username, and you will find it like that, because I think I won't have time to go to the Scratch. But they designed a program that explained how their city worked. In Minecraft, they designed the restaurant. This is a restaurant idea. And we did this with Build It Yourself one more time. And here is the question for the person that was asking about, how can I make a multidisciplinary class with dance? If they had a state, they had to dance what is in that state. So they had to research, what do they dance in that state? So you're talking about cultural awareness as well. You're talking about identity, Mexican identity, okay? So design thinking, this is another approach that I have. This is another example. Now, forget about the cities and the restaurant. I have also tried design thinking, and I wanted to show you according to what you saw yesterday with Gus. We followed the Stanford. This was the first time we tried design thinking. And as you can see, I used paper and tape. I didn't use a 3D printer. We didn't use nothing fancy, but the design was there.
Miss Mariana, they're asking, how long do you take doing all these kinds of projects?
I'll go to that in a minute. This design thinking, it took me the whole year, the whole school year, to be honest. And there was a time, because these prototypes that you see here, they transformed and transformed. As you can see, they were transforming and transforming and transforming. It's a never-ending process. Never-ending process. Look at their faces because of their invention. And the topic I used for this is in science, in block number 1 for 4th grade, science that is taking care of my body. So the challenge was to build a device that could take care of your systems. So it was very interesting to see that they were very much worried about sleeping. I remember the problems, that they didn't sleep well, that they had lots of screen time. So they designed, for example, the puppy you saw at the beginning, it was a dog that helped you not to be so long on the screen. So this is the final concept, blending and remixing. Nowadays, at the school where I'm working with, Colegio Las Hayas, This is in high school, 5th semester high school. The biggest goal or the biggest challenge we achieved is by design thinking. We use design thinking. We made formación, las áreas de formación para el trabajo, diseño, administración, informática, paramédicos, etc. 8 teachers working together for the same project you see on the left side. And as you can see, we were using laboratory material that we have. We were using leaves, banana leaves, and other materials that they got. And our process was something like this. 8 teachers were doing a challenge-based learning because it's not a problem, it was a challenge. They had to respond to a problem we have in our cafeteria. So we were working for the community. And Informatica was designing a system, un sistema for the cafeteria. Administración, how much will it cost you to do this? They had to apply everything about negocios and everything that they do here. Paramédicos, about the healthy part. How healthy will your box lunch be? And they designed a menu and they analyzed the cafeteria, and it was working for the community. And I don't want to say that we use this plus this plus this plus this. No. We used many of these approaches, like I started at the beginning, coming back and forth with something like this that looks like this, and it's very weird, but we'll continue working like that and see what happens later. So everything you have heard, you can apply it to study English, to study a multidisciplinary approach that the world functions like that. In one product, for one purpose, 8 teachers were collaborating here. We had sessions with the 8 teachers when they were planning together. Can you think of that? That was a problem, really. We learned lots of things in the way.
Yes, Mariana, they're going to kill me, but...
Yeah, okay. So the last one is evaluate, very quickly. Evidence. And just to wrap up, blended learning says, for example, the project, session 1, session 2, organize the 5 stages in different sessions, use methodologies that work for you, design how are you going to do it. You'll see that your projects fit into what you should be doing. Here's another example. And what have I learned? I'll say it in 10 seconds. Teamwork is super important, both for teachers, teamwork with teachers, and teamwork with students. You cannot continue working alone. Apply the 21st century skills to the teachers in your school. It's hard, I know it. It's really hard, very complicated. Humans are complicated. We all are. But be a genius, not a genius. Work together. And if you work like that, inspiring in the STEAM approach, students will follow you, with no doubt. Develop their students' voice. And I have 2 scratch projects that I would have liked you to share. If you go to Mabaluca, you can see it. And develop your own voice as a teacher. Find your own style. And I have another project here, but we won't be able to see it. So it has been a pleasure to be with you. And if you have any comments, thank you very much. Sorry, I had to finish like, but that's okay.
No, Mariana, pero creo que esto, como quedan varios temas, pues que valdría la pena en otro momento abordar, pues veamos la posibilidad de que te tengamos nuevamente.
Claro.
Creo que hay mucho que trabajar y creo que siempre las dudas de todos los participantes es cómo lo aterrizo en mi contexto es diferente, yo no tengo tecnologías, pero estas no son soluciones inmediatas para todos, o sea, son oportunidades de que ellos vayan haciendo esa reflexión, ver en qué medida puedes tomar las referencias y trabajarlas, pero siempre el acompañamiento es muy valioso, Mariana. Lula, de verdad, creo que tendríamos que abrir un espacio y yo quisiera que se comprometieran a que me digan que sí buscaremos.
Claro, sí, no,
claro,
nos encanta trabajar juntas.
Ahora sí que nos toca así de todos los
Llevamos 10 años trabajando juntas.
No, pero, excelente. Entonces, queda comprometido, buscaremos la forma de que nuestra audiencia pueda tener otra oportunidad de cerrar varios temas, varios círculos de esta información recibida. Y claro, la presentación, el webinar estará en la plataforma para que lo puedan consultar y puedan seguir revisando pues todos estos conceptos y estas ideas que se fueron trabajando en ambas charlas, ¿no? Muchas gracias, Mariana. Muchas gracias.
Veo ahí evaluación. Evaluación sería otro tema completamente diferente que podríamos tardar otras 3 horas de hablar, pero con mucho gusto también les podemos enseñar lo que hemos hecho.
Muy bien. Muchas gracias.
No se lo pierdan mañana.
Así es. El día de mañana, bueno, la maestra Lula dice no se lo pierdan porque tenemos el apoyo nuevamente del Instituto Tecnológico de Michigan, el MIT, conocido de esta forma a nivel internacional, en la que 2 expertos en temas educativos también van a participar con nosotros y con ello pues, buscaremos ir al cierre de estas actividades que se han venido desarrollando, a concluir lo que es nuestra tercera semana formal. Sin embargo, la plataforma sigue abierta hasta el 21 de agosto para que puedan revisar todos los webinars, para que puedan terminar de realizar actividades. Queda abierta 2 semanas más. Y bueno, pues con esto les agradezco toda su atención. Los esperamos mañana muy puntuales para que podamos ver estos cierres. Y por la tarde que nos acompañen con el cierre de todas las instituciones que han participado, que quieren darnos un mensaje. Gracias, buenas tardes.